Everyone, welcome to the land of Seermor. Seermor is a land full of interesting and delightful things. Um, Many years ago, the wizard Therum locked himself in his tower to conduct his research upon the arcane magics of the land. He did this because he wanted to further himself from the distractions of the world and everything around him. Um, During his studies, he was trying to study the ancient magics of past generations, and during that time, he found a book. And in this book was a way to combine the realms of all into one. In this book, a passage read, "Those who read the words in this scripture will become obsessed, your mind consumed, and you'll never be able to unsee or undo this curse. Be wary and do not continue." Therium, thinking he was smarter, and as it was old tradition, this curse could not be real, and he continued his research into the Great Collide. As he ignored the warnings, he studied for years, further consumed, and his soul soon disappeared, and he finally unlocked all that was in the book. And then, as he did this, a giant hole opened in the sky, and the rift began. The rift was a dark age where monsters from each and every realm, from the abyss to hells to the shadow realm to undead coming back to life, until the five kingdoms got together, the people known as the five heroes. The five heroes ventured out into the lands, and during their struggles and their battles, they finally reached the ruined tower of the Mad Wizard. They entered the tower and were able to thwart Therium and close the rift. As the rift closed, it also left behind many of these creatures throughout the lands. The five heroes, after their adventure was done, decided that this could not stand and formed what is known as the Hunters Guild. The three top heroes spent many years trying to hunt down and, we'll just say, vanquish these monsters. And during the times, they found out that monster hunting was not cheap and needed a way to make coin. So, what better way to make coin than hunt monsters? Because the coin corrupted these heroes, they broke off into different factions of the Hunters Guild. That is where we are today. You guys are currently in a small town of Finn. Hold on. Your adventures find yourself in the town of Finn, a town with wooden walls and is monitored by a small set of guards. Walking down the streets, you see many people throughout the city streets and coming in and out of their houses. Many of them look towards your group confused and wondering what is going on.
Can't imagine why.
Your adventures bring you here because, being who a group of adventurers, coin is something that you need, and you do know that the Hunters Guild does hire certain adventurers to hunt down monsters, and they pay, from what you hear, really decent coin. The Hunters Guild in Finn, you have found out, is known by the name as the Talon, as you can see right now on the map. At this point, I would like the four of you 4 of you besides Darian to introduce yourselves.
I think our leader should go first there, Squint.
I feel strongly the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Tell me who Squint is. Who is Squint?
well, probably the creature that probably earns the most attention is the Minotaur. However, the dashing figure riding on top of the Minotaur is the one I'm here to tell you about. There is a small creature reminiscent of a dragonborn, except a lot more thinner, ganglier, with a sense of self-esteem that far eclipses that of those around him. There is a kobold in armor with a flail resting on one shoulder as he rides atop the Minotaur's back, with a pair of dark goggles over his eyes to protect them from the sunlight. And he's constantly looking around with his snout kind of like turned up into the air, just looking. And if anyone like stares at him too hard, he'll stare back and then wave jovially, and occasionally break out into a cackle at a joke no one else seems to get. I want to say he's got bluish scales.
Okay. So I want to hear from the Minotaur. Who are you?
Should we just go down the line?
From tallest to shortest?
From highest elevation to shortest. So Ferdinand is in fact the Minotaur. He is 6'3", 6'4", both sort of vertically, and also he is a wide, broad fellow of a Minotaur, all the better to carry his small dragony companion safely through all of the troubles and travails. He is wearing scale mail. He is carrying a massive great axe. Doesn't really seem to have much of anything other than his armor and axe. Why would he need anything else? Except that he is in fact wearing a sort of a long suit coat and a cravat over his armor, and has a small pair of spectacles perched on his nose. And he is moving with great precision and care so as not to jostle his fierce small friend.
Okay. The next one down the line. One of the normal looking ones.
Is she though?
I don't
We'll
know.
find out. We'll find out together.
Find out.
So Jinx is a human dressed in fairly fine clothes. She gives off a very, despite walking with them, kind of an air of I'm not with them. Occasionally writing down something in a very large book that she's carrying. She's carrying it and walking at the same time. She's got red hair kind of pulled back into a loose ponytail, a little bit curly, and freckles across her nose. It looks like she's kind of a little bit sunburned, like she wasn't used to being outside as often as she is right now. And she's following these two.
Okay. And
every once in a while she trips. And has to like catch her. She doesn't drop anything yet, but...
And now we know what Squint is cackling at.
Yeah, probably.
And Jill, are you with them or are you not with them?
I am not with them, I don't think. I might have seen them last night at the pub, but...
Okay.
So I'm not gawking quite as much as everyone else.
Fair enough.
I'm just like, okay, that is an odd thing. Moving on.
And tell me about your character.
So Yasin is a... Well, she looks like a rogue. She's, got very light blonde hair, fair-skinned, pretty serviceable, somewhere between, cotton under things, leather, light armor. A couple of daggers that she wears pretty openly, and a quarterstaff in one hand. So, kind of an adventurer, kind of travels between towns and cities. Doesn't think of herself as terribly interesting. Nothing to see here, people. Just
sneaky,
another person for hire.
sneaky stabby.
Okay. So, as you guys come out of the cheaper sleep, a very, very fine establishment full of broken down chairs, a broken down bar, an old man that looks grimy and nasty, beds that were bumpy and very uncomfortable. But being who you are, adventurers, you're used to these kind of rundown, junky places. Yes, and Squint loved it very much. It was almost like home, but not at home. Yelp that. Yelp it. You make your way. It is currently early morning, and you are set off to make your way down the street to the Talon. You did ask the bartender where the Talon was, and he pointed you in the general direction. So you guys start from here, and you're making your way north to here.
Is there any chance that Squint and Ferdinand could have combined their rustic hospitality skills to get a slightly more comfortable sleeping arrangement? Might that explain Squint's delight with the arrangements?
Sure. Why not?
Double rustic hospitality.
I am very likable despite the fact I have no charisma whatsoever. I
I'm
think I
very
just confuse
unlikable.
people.
I'm very unlikable despite the fact that I have an exceptionally high charisma.
Off to a good start.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And so somehow from the night before to the next day, it's almost like this Minotaur and this Kobold fit in with the town. Like they've been here for weeks on end and everybody's just kind of used to it. You know that situation where it's the big dummy? You're used to it by now. Yeah, that's Squint and Ferdinand or whatever his name is. They're fine.
I'm very good at telling stories very poorly.
But everybody still enjoys the stories because
It's
of
like you
how
can't look away.
Yes. It's like a disaster waiting to happen. Those who want to what are your passive perceptions?
11.
Okay.
Passive is
10.
Also 10.
12.
12. Okay.
We are not an intellectual party.
Wow, I've never had one of the higher passive perceptions in a party before.
At a 12, no less.
So nobody notices anything as you make your way to the Talon.
Nobody notices anything ever.
This is fantastic. This is already going good, folks.
Fine.
You guys make your way into the Talon. You notice the Talon because there's a big giant metal sign, and on it you see the claw of or the talon of what you would assume would be some kind of bird. You do manage to pick that up. Luckily, and surprisingly, it's the Minotaurs. Like, that's the Talon right there. Perfectly spotted. Squint and Ferdinand. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but I don't care if I'm not because it's awesome.
You are. but also like feel free to not if you would prefer not to.
Oh, don't worry. You guys have a hard time squeezing into the door. This is made for normal statured people. Like Ferdinand kind of has to bend over and down to make sure that the kobold's head doesn't smash off the door frame.
And Ferdinand takes this extremely seriously and like very slowly and carefully sort of gets down on his knees and sort of like not hands and knees because that would tip forward and then squint my top law forward, but like gets on his knees and just very carefully like knee walks through the door and then with equal care like finds like walks all the way over to, I don't know where the door entrance is, but over to a chair so that he can like put a hand on a chair to very like make sure he's staying absolutely level or upright as he slowly stands back up so as not to jostle.
Thank you.
As you guys walk in, the first thing that you notice is you actually notice the scent. It hits you. It's almost like, you know how someone who has all those incense going, but for some reason it's the right combination of incense, that it still smells good even though it's all these smells at once. It's almost like that calming smell as you enter the building. In front of you, you see what looks like lining in a square. You see like what do they call it? Counters. And you see a couple people sitting behind them. Look like they're kind of waiting what you would consume as a receptionist. You see over in the left-hand corner as you see a gentleman who is, it looks like a human, short black hair, has a long sword on his back. Looks like he's standing there waiting for something. And you see two human ladies sitting behind the counters, kind of waiting for you. They see you walk in. You see over the counter out back, you see two large wooden walls with a couple doors. To your right, you see a piano. To your far right, you see the two couches, kind of almost like fancy-looking couches, with two ladies, you assume, sitting on there, just talking amongst each other. And you see a sitting area over to your left.
Could you ping where the entry is exactly?
Right here.
Awesome, thank you. So we're inside the.
Correct.
Okay, and this is a table or this is a rug?
It's a table.
Okay.
It's like a what do they call those?
Coffee table?
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. So Ferdinand should just go. So probably. Oh, that's weird. As I'm scrolling, I'm losing the couches. But yeah, so Ferdinand probably would have sort of walked over to this table here and would have stood back up right next to it.
Mhm.
And is just sort of slowly turning his head from side to side, surveying the area.
And that's what you see. You see the two ladies behind the counters. You see walls out back. You do see a stairwell. Looks like it's leading up over in the right corner. Everything you see there is pretty much exactly as you see it.
This place smells funny.
Mm.
I like it, actually. Reminds me of my roommates at college.
Your room smelled funny.
Alright, are you both going to, having arrived at the Talon, she checks her notes, are you going to go talk to the administrator, or?
Speak to the boss man, woman.
Then I will stride boldly but carefully off in the direction of. There was someone who looked like a receptionist type, right?
Yep, there's actually two ladies sitting behind the counter.
And is there someone who looks to be more in charge like the person that they might perhaps be receiving on behalf of, or did they look like the most official people that we are seeing from here? It sounded that way based on the description, but
Yes, they would probably be the most official people that you see here.
okay. Then I will stride boldly up to this counter
Mhm.
because she's a little closer, and I will stand directly in front of the counter and sort of just lean forward just a little bit so that Squint can see past my horns more easily. But I'm
I'll
definitely
lean
not
forward
like
on top of Ferdinand's heads, just like holding on to their horns to steady myself.
All right, 1 second. You can make an insight check if you'd like. I
sure,
would-
why not? Oh wow. Why do I have a +2? I don't think I have a +2. Oh,
This is correct.
Yeah.
I have guidance turned on for some reason. But it's a 17 for some ungodly reason.
17.
Yes.
Yeah, you rolled an 18 minus 1. Yep. Nope. That would make sense. So 17. Squint, she's hard to read. She looks like she's a tough one. You don't want to mess with her. Ferdinand, you look at the lady and she looks like she's holding her composure, kind of confused. But looks like she's seen some shit, and this might not be the first time she's ever seen a Minotaur. But probably the first time she's ever seen a Minotaur with a kobold on their head.
I'm gonna lean just a little bit farther forward and like snort just a little bit, like sharp exhale, through my nose to make a little snorting, like sort of hopefully intimidating snorting noise, and I will just lean the great axe very casually up against the counter.
You need heroes. Here we are.
That's the noise Jinx makes in the corner. It's just letting go.
Roll persuasion.
Intimidation.
I'm definitely trying to be intimidating, if that helps at all. I don't know what
I
Squint's
will
doing.
persuade.
Intimidate.
Okay.
I will rethink my major in college.
Wow. I'm trying to turn
Wow.
guidance off, but I can't. Oh, there it is.
Wow, that's actually kind of impressive. She looks at you, Ferdinand, and she kind of does that thing where she puts her elbow on the counter, puts her chin in her hand, and looks at you and just kind of smiles. She looks up at Squint as the comments come out of his mouth, and she kind of does that, and she pulls out a piece of parchment, and she says, "Name."
Squint.
Squint. Kobold. She looks at you, Ferdinand, and she goes, "Name?"
Ferdinand J. Pendleton, Esquire.
And you watch her somehow write this down, even as quickly as you say it. Anybody else with you?
I am.
She tries to...
Royal Chronicler.
That's awesome. She tries to look past the Minotaur at the voice in the background. Name? She yells out.
Jinx Harrington.
Dash Royal Chronicler.
What was that, sir? Dash.
Royal Chronicler. Title.
Royal
Jinx.
Chronicle for the Jinx. Anybody else?
No, backwards. Royal Chronicler for Squint.
Crosses it out. Royal Chronicler for Squint.
Yes.
I'm watching very carefully. Is she writing it correctly this time?
She is writing everything perfectly fine.
Blunt.
She is writing it all down the way that the Cobalt is portraying it to her.
That is a terrible idea.
She's probably writing it on blood. Can I insight check? Is she writing this on her blotting pad instead of like the actual official records?
Yeah, make a perception check.
Why do I always get my intelligence, my wisdom turned around? Whatever.
Happens to the best of us.
14.
She's writing it on some kind of note. You're not sure what exactly it could be. Could be an official record, possibly. Anybody else with you? She looks back and forth between the Cobalt and the Minotaur.
We are enough.
She
I give Ferdinand a little pat on his head.
She sets down the parchment.
Ferdinand looks unreasonably pleased.
We'll call your name when we need you or we're ready for you.
Excellent.
Find bigger monster. And I nod.
Biggest
Approvingly.
monster.
She
Will
nods.
slay windmills for money.
She nods. Yes, yes. Big monster.
Right. And I point at the paper.
I don't need to mark that down.
Are you sure? It helps.
No. It's best right up here in my brain. Yeah. Got a great memory.
Are there any names ahead of ours?
You can make a perception check. Or you can ask. Are you asking her?
18. No, I was looking, not asking.
Okay. There does look to be a piece of parchment next to her with looks like names crossed off. There is one name that is ahead of you.
It's a separate piece of paper? Parchment?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Can I take it?
Make a sleight of hand check. Wow.
It's a good thing I'm using all my good rolls on this.
Let's see how good her perception is. Wow. Okay.
Can I assist by pointing out and pointing across the room and saying,
Look! Distraction!
Is that an assist or?
Is it anti-assist? Can you anti-help someone?
Can you anti?
Sure, I'll let you have advantage on this.
I'll keep the 20.
Okay. So you go and you snatch the paper. As you go and you snatch the paper, and are you just grabbing it, kind of pocketing it, or are you kind of turning around so she can't see it?
Oh, no, I'm just grabbing it and I'm passing it up to Squint.
Okay.
I'm grabbing
I
it
am
and
not-
stuffing it into a pocket.
Not trying to conceal what I'm doing in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to
Perfect.
take it.
Okay. So as you take the piece of paper and hand it up to your Cobalt friend, she looks up at you, she sighs, she grabs another piece of parchment, writes down a name, and then you watch as she writes down a couple other names.
Are any of them ours?
Yes.
Are ours at the top now?
No.
I will glower at her, then slowly rotate in place very carefully. Look at Jinx. Point at Jinx, point at the paper, point at Jinx, say, fix. And then I will go over to the comfortable couches, assuming it will be handled.
Sure. Sure. I'm gonna walk up to the counter.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, so we're going to have a conversation. And you're just going to nod along for a minute.
She nods.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you.
She nods.
After a little bit of that, I'm gonna head back.
Excellent work. Worth every gold piece I pay you.
You don't pay me.
And you're worth it.
Doesn't that just sound like every grad school internship ever?
I could have gone.
He looks absurdly
and I could
pleased
have
with
served
himself as though he really thinks this is a compliment.
I could have served the Raven Queen. I could have been like my older sister and gone into the service of Seermor or Pelor. No, I wanted to be a bard.
Better choice.
Certainly
Best
is a
choice.
choice. Certainly was a choice that I made there.
As you guys are discussing, you hear the other lady say, Darius Khayyam? Yeah, Khayyam? Darius Khayyam? And you watch as this gentleman says, it's me. And you watch as he walks over and he starts talking to her.
And he's just like a dude.
He looks like, I'm making an insight check.
3!
Looks like a dude.
I
I
can
just-
take him.
I adjust my cravat and nod agreement.
I don't think we need to take him. I don't think we need to take
Are
him
you
anywhere.
sure?
Too small.
You know, they're probably just sending him out to go to like clean stables or something. It's fine. They know we're here for the big jobs.
As you say that, he walks behind the counter and ends to this room right here. And that's where he disappeared. What is your name, Jill?
Yasin?
Yesin. Yasin? Yasin?
If it helps, you could say it like Jason with a Y.
Jason? Yasin? You're Yasin?
I just say Yasin because I want to, but that's fine.
Nope, Yasin's fine. I can say Yasin. I know how to say that. I know those words.
Excellent, because I keep throwing new ones at you.
That's fine. I am definitely not a person that absolutely has a hard time reading at all. Don't worry. Not a big deal.
Well, because of course she could be mispronouncing it anyway. It doesn't really matter, right?
Right. Anyways, as you guys sit there for a couple moments as they pass, you hear Yasin, Squint, Ferdinand, and Jinx.
What's a Yasin?
They forgot half my name.
I am going
You'll
to
get him
like,
next time, Ferdinand J. Pendleton Esquire.
be at the counter.
Get this time. And I got my axe and I start carefully walking over.
I'm gonna move to intercept.
Are you?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Are you going to smash? Is that what you're going to do?
I mean, we'll see.
Okay.
But if Jinx is, I am moving at a stately pace. So if Jinx is trying to get ahead of me, that's not going to be hard.
I'm going to hold up the book that I've been writing notes in. See, it will be chronicled in the history of you, Squint the Great. I will have it fully written out. We'll correct it in the history books.
The greatest.
The greatest. Squint the Greatest, of course.
I nod and am at least temporarily mollified.
I am currently making faces like, are you really going to make me work with these people to the person who called our names?
Be sure Ferdinand is called Noble. Noble Ferdinand.
Noble, the noble Lord Ferdinand J.
Yeah.
Esquire.
J. Pendleton Esquire, and
Right.
Squint the Greatest.
I reach out and pat Jinx on the head, the same way that Squint patted me on the head.
Oh boy. Here we go. You guys approach the lady who's sitting there, and she has a polite smile on her face as you guys approach, and she says, the Guildmaster has a mission for 5. Do you mind? And she kind of looks at you, Yasin, over at Jinx, over at the
Excellent. We're all here.
Cobalt, looks over at the Minotaur. Do you mind working with them?
Why? There are 5 here.
There. She looks up at the Cobalt. There's
I blink at them behind my big dark goggles.
4 of you.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then I point at her.
5.
I'm. She looks over at you, yes, and she goes, would you mind working with them?
Is honor.
I'm going to kind of sideways look, but not really turn my head so they can't see my face.
It
I'll
will be
probably
your
survive.
pleasure.
It would be a pleasure. Oh my lord. This is... Oh boy. It would be your pleasure. She looks over at you and says, see, it would be your pleasure. I promise the reward would be worth it. Do you go to step behind the counter?
Sure do.
Before you make it past the counter,
Yes.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, this should be fun.
Nice.
17.
So you're not... You feel something kind of enter your mind, and you feel like something's going to happen to you, but it kind of stops, but you don't feel like you can move forward.
Do I feel, am I held? Can I move in general, or I just can't move through there?
You feel like there's an invisible wall blocking you.
Tell me a little something about this spell or magic item or concentrated magic effect, please. To be clear, Squint is just not Squint. I'm not Squint. Ferdinand sort of makes that snorting noise again, and just sort of slowly head turn to scan the area again.
So this is definitely an aberration type spell. And it feels like you're not sure pinpoint exactly what it is. But it almost feels like a modified version of Force Wall.
And do I know if that's acceptable here in this land?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as you're aware, yes.
Hi, Ferdinand, stop walking.
Is cheating magic?
Oh.
She looks over. Are you sure you want to work with these folks? Still waiting for an answer from Yesin.
I had acquiesced while they were putting on their comedy act behind me. I think I'll survive. I'm not sure most of the other people who might be candidates would.
Okay.
You're going to pay well for this, right?
And she looks at you all and she says, feel free to come behind the counter. The room behind me, the one furthest to the left. The guildmaster will see you.
I'll go join Yasin.
I am going to remain and glower at her a little bit longer until I'm assuming, do they go through the opening or do they just go over the door? Over the wall?
We went through the opening.
Okay, then I
Like
sort of
sane human-like creatures.
remain and glower until they have gone through the opening, and then I will also proceed to the opening.
I'm going to get Yasin here caught up as to your greatness. We'll be in a moment.
Don't worry.
I say to Yasin.
We will protect you.
I take it back, I'm gonna die. My eyes are really like dinner plates right now.
I assume these doors are not taller than the entry door.
No, you would have to
Okay.
do the same thing.
Yeah, same performance.
As you enter the room, out in the back, you see bookshelves behind a desk, and you see an older gentleman dressed in what looks to be like tan robes. He's an older human with spectacles. You see he's reviewing his book, talking to someone over to his left side. His left, your right. Who you see a golden dragonborn. Darian, explain yourself.
Hello. My name is Thomas. Technically my name's supposed to be Thomas, but my mother had a lisp and that's what they wrote down on the birth certificate. So that's that's pretty much my story.
Okay. He looks like a kind of like you, Squint, but bigger and more like a dragon, and he has golden scales. He's wearing, what kind of armor are you wearing, Darian?
I believe that's just leather.
He's wearing leather armor. He has a long bow on his back. You see the older gentleman behind the table in front of you, talking to him, talking about something. You're not really sure what quite yet. As you just enter the room, with two chairs sitting in front of you. Yasin and Jinx, do you want to do anything before you enter?
So I feel like I should just warn you in advance because no one warned me, and it was a little bit of a learning curve. The little one on top is named Squint. He's the leader.
What?
Yes. Ferdinand J. Pendleton Esquire is the Minotaur. He is very proud of his name. He just usually works to let him have his way. He bit stubborn, that one. But Squint is fairly easy to get along with. Best of luck.
I'm going to like tug that door the rest of the way to like get along with. Do you mean like get along with or manipulate?
What's the difference?
Right.
As they say this, Squint is looking at Tom. I'm not going to pronounce it correctly.
It's
but
Thomas.
Thomas. Oh, I can just use the accent. And he's leaning over to Ferdinand and kind of stage whispering,
Look, a fan. He dresses just like me.
Wrong color.
No one's perfect.
And I sort of like cock my head just a little bit, like I'm considering whether or not that's true. And then I will very carefully begin to proceed over. Are there books on those shelves?
There are, yes.
Oh, our friends have joined us. I will pause here while I enter the room. Our friend and loyal subject.
The old man looks up and he adjusts his spectacles. He looks over at the Minotaur and the Kobold, and he goes,
Help me.
"Okay, this is interesting." And he kind of starts writing something down.
I also adjust my spectacles.
Your pleasure to meet me.
And he looks up at you and he goes, "And your name, sir?"
Squint.
"And your name?"
K Squint.
If I might, Your Greatness. It's Squint.
What she said.
He nods. "And you, who might you be?"
Ferdinand G. Pendleton, Esquire.
Ferdinand G. Pendleton, Esquire.
Ferdinand. You're taken from here.
I got it, thank you. And he looks over at you, Jinx, and he says, "And you?"
Jenks Harrington.
"And you?"
Yes, in Brookfield.
He goes, he puts the scroll that he had open, and he closes it, and he says, "Perfect. Now, you all have come here for, I take it, coin, yes?"
Yes.
Slay windmills.
Biggest monster.
Same thing.
Very well. We do have a particular mission in mind for a group like yours, if you care to listen.
Definitely.
Very good. The adventure that we have put forth for you is in a small logging community right outside the walls of Finn, to the northeast, in the woods. The logging town has reported that some of their employees have gone missing, and they would like to figure out what is going on before their whole encampment is either destroyed or the workers decide that they do not want to work anymore. So they have requested that the Hunters Guild, which is us, and he kind of looks up at the Minotaur as he walks over, and has requested that we investigate. Is that something you would be interested in?
What's your job?
He looks up at you, kind of doing that where he has to slide up to look up, and he goes, well, I am the guild master."
I hold up 5 fingers to Squint.
I cock my head at his fist.
Is 5.
Is fine.
The guild master looks up at you, Squint. I think it wants you to give it a high five.
It's true. I look at Ferdinand.
I pat the guild master on the head.
Oh, well. You watch as the guild master, as you pat it, he has a bald head, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's quite nice, thank you." He looks over curiously at Jinx. So who will be accepting this contract?
As the Royal Chronicler, I think that's my job. I'll step forward.
Alrighty.
She's
And
also my accountant.
I am also the accountant.
if you look at your handouts, you currently have a contract right there in front of you. He says to you, the contract itself is pretty simple. You need to adventure to the logging town. You meet up with the quartermaster. From there, the quartermaster will provide you any information that he can. You would need to investigate any events that he needs you to investigate. Assist him with any dispatching of any creatures, monsters, or anything of the like. There might possibly be a pocket in that area. If there is a pocket, then we would need you to seal it. We will provide you the summoning stone to summon one of the children to take care of the pocket.
Squint is warrior, not seamstress.
What do you mean by seamstress, sir?
Squint doesn't know how to seal a pocket.
They're going to send us someone. We can use a stone to summon someone who can seal the pocket. It's fine.
Seamstress summoning stone.
Seamstress summoning stone.
If that's what you would like to call it, then it is a seamstress summoning stone. He looks back over at you, Jinx. He goes.
I just nod.
For this, upon completion of the contract, you will be rewarded 150 gold pieces, and to be split amongst all of you. If this is reasonable, please make your notation on the contract and sign it. Please do note that the Hunter Guild is not responsible for any injury or death that might happen during the adventure, and we will not pay out anything more.
Understood. If the creature has can be used for parts, are those split up via our discretion, or
Any items, monster parts, if you would. Anything that you find on the adventure is yours. All we want is for you to destroy the monster, complete the contract, so that we get paid, so you can get paid.
Give stone. I hold out my hand.
I nod to Squint. It looks like a good lead for windmill hunting.
Excellent.
You're holding out for the stone? Is that what you
I
said?
am.
He does hand you this. It's like a purplish stone in your hand.
I'm gonna try. Can I hold it up and like shake it and turn it over and shake it some more?
Sure.
And as I'm doing this, I mean, I guess not this group's passive perception, but you can tell like there's the elbow of my very elegant jacket has been patched, and the patch is coming off. And I'm trying to figure out how to use the summoning stone to summon a seamstress.
You're trying to summon a seamstress.
That's what I heard that summoning stone does. So yes, I tried to figure out how to activate the summoning stone currently, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to do it. So it's just a rock, right? So I'm just like turning it over and shaking it and like tossing it in the air and poking at it. Maybe I give it a lick.
You have to rub it.
I will dutifully rub it with my other hand.
He looks up at.
Stone is broken.
Rap gently against the table.
He looks at you two. They won't be summoned until you reach the pocket. It's designed to, when you find a pocket, to summon them at that time.
Oh, see, it fixes it like this. Can I use the sleight of hand to use mending on the patch?
I'm trying to put the stone in my pocket as this is happening.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check.
This is gonna be awful. 23.
I don't think the bar is very high.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you beat an 11?
I mean, You go to put in the stone in your pocket, and you watch as your patch is mended.
My jaw just drops.
Not broken.
Sign
stone.
now.
He kind of shakes his head. For this mission, we will need to send an enforcer with you, due to the fact that this is your first mission amongst the Hunters Guild. Of course, we need someone to go with you to make sure that you're not going to screw us, or, try to take the contract for yourself. That is why, Thomas here will be accompanying you on your adventure. He is a man of the wilds and will be able to assist you with any tracking needs that you need. But of course, I can let Thomas explain all that himself if he needs.
I always wanted a fanboy.
I think you pretty much summed it up.
I think I pretty much summed a fanboy. What?
I signed the contract and I hand it over to Squint to make his mark.
Wrong color.
I'll hold my hand out for the ink pot.
Yep.
Can I take one of the books off the shelf and start fanning it?
You can if you want to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's what he meant.
Wow. Okay, so you watch.
Like 15 seconds into this, Squint just blinks and leans down to Ferdinand.
I like him.
And then I'll pour a dollop of ink on my claw and just plant it onto the page, and then hand the materials back.
Is refreshing.
Keep it up. Squint will pay you good money.
I just shake
Does
my
anybody
head to
else in this
Thomas.
group get paid?
I just look at Thomas and shake my head. No.
I look at Thomas with
okay.
great confusion.
You watch as the guild master looks over at you. I mean, we do pay you, Thomas. You two know this, right?
I thought I was gonna get double time here.
He looks over at the creatures. It's a discussion we can have. And he looks back at the rest of you.
I am currently looking somewhat jealous of this situation.
just making sure everyone signs this contract.
I'm turning back. You said no more pay.
He works for the guild. You guys are currently contracting through the guild, which is a completely different situation.
You
He
said
hasn't-
no more pay.
He's not on this contract. He has his own contract with them. It's not as good as this contract, though.
Sure.
Yeah,
Ferdinand
I'm
is
only
my
signing
lawyer.
a secondary contract to fan you. That's what it is.
Sounds better contract.
You don't have to accept the contract if you do not want. I mean, that is your choice.
Who was that to? Was that to me?
No, that was to the Minotaur.
But
Squint-
Squint has already signed it.
Squint is confused.
I will hold out my hand for the quill.
Yeah, I'll hand it over.
I will sign. Ferdinand X. Pendleton, Esquire.
And for the final one, would you like to sign?
I'll just, pick up the most likely slightly mangled pen at this point. And kind of just scroll my signature on there.
Okay.
Loopy letters because it's fun.
You see him, as you finish writing off the contract, he takes the scroll, rolls it up, and sets it on his desk. And he looks amongst you. Yeah, so that is the deal. We will go ahead and provide you with 1 spell scroll if you would like.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Unique.
And he hands it to you. You have it in your handouts.
Oh, this is clever. I've been wanting to use this one and learn this one eventually.
Why?
It
The
it lets me create a tiny little hut for us to sleep in.
Why?
a mobile home.
A mobile home.
Well, with the contract accepted, I would say it would be best for you all to be on your way.
I think so. Shall we?
I will open the door and step out of the way and hold it open.
To adventure.
I look to Squint to lead.
My browser is locked up, but Ferdinand will carefully approach the door and then depart in the same way that he entered.
Careful, careful. Thank you.
Alrighty. As you all walk out, is there anything you would like to do before you leave the town?
Kind of feels like we've done enough.
I mean, yes, this whole section, which I was planning to take a half an hour, has taken an hour. It's fine. I'm enjoying myself nonetheless.
1 shots turn into 2 shots. Turn into
3 shots turn into campaigns. Yes, I know how it
mini
works.
campaigns.
Ferdinand assumes we're off for glory and has no plans to stay in town unless someone suggests otherwise.
Okay. Would you guys like to do any shopping, anything of that sort?
No, I am all set with this.
Okay. Thomas?
Also, I know it's best not to try to them go too
No,
crazy.
I think I'm alright. If I'm based here, I probably have everything I need.
I would like to acquire a couple of days worth of rations, but that doesn't need to take a ton of work here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, I'll meet you at the edge of town, vanish off to get food, and come back.
Yeah, just count like 3 silver pieces gone and. Alrighty. So you guys are heading to the logging town of Finn, which will take you roughly about half day's journey. Is there anything you'd like to do during your journey at all? Thomas, I will have you roll a survival check, please.
Okay, tell me which one to roll.
Do you have dice in front of you?
No.
Okay. Are you going to use roll 20?
Okay, so that's the D20. Just click it.
Sorry, no. You can use D&D Beyond or roll 20, whichever one.
Yeah. On roll 20.
Yep.
Just
So
click the D20.
It's your on roll 20. I don't think you can click a D20. You have to put in /roll 1D20 plus whatever your survival modifier is.
Unless it's already in your character sheet.
I don't know if it is.
It's probably not. Natural
I
1.
honestly find it easier to roll in D&D Beyond a lot of the time.
Is that
Squint will be
is that
singing
wrong?
marching songs.
No, I mean, you rolled a natural 1.
Oh, nice.
So
I'm dead already. Let's go. Good night.
Ferdinand is stomping in time with the marching songs to make a beat.
Guys, you're just distracted by the Minotaur and the Kobold. It's fine. We all have it. All it happens to all of us sometimes.
What is my survival thing? Where do I see
So you created a sheet in D&D Beyond. So if you go to D&D Beyond,
that? Yes.
underneath skills, survival is probably the one that's at the very, very bottom. And you can actually just click in that box and it will roll for you.
Is it under skills?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the second column, and then you want to scroll all the way down to the bottom of that, and there should be one that says survival.
Ability score improvement. That.
Okay, so how?
My bad.
What are you looking at right now? Are you looking at it on your computer or on your phone?
On my computer.
So on your computer, underneath intelligence and wisdom, those two stats at the top, right underneath there, you see where it says skill, acrobatics, animal handling, arcana, athletics, deception, history. How do you not see that?
I'm in character builders. I know where I'm supposed to be.
No.
Gotcha.
Go to view character sheet.
Gotcha. My bad, guys. Okay, I see it now.
Okay, yeah. Survival's right there. You can always just...
+2. Gotcha.
Right. But you rolled a natural 1, either way.
So I got 3.
So what was originally supposed to only take a half a day, not even, is now going to take you 3/4 of a day. So is there anything you'd like to do on your travels?
Walk a little extra slowly.
Stomp louder.
Sing louder.
Apparent.
People go faster.
I'll sing with Squint and Ferdinand because at some point you just embrace the crazy.
Can we see Yasin, or has she disappeared?
She followed
I
you.
think I'm just walking right now.
Yeah, she followed you.
Unless you guys have like entirely lost me because I knew where I was going and your ranger got lost. That was
I
confusing.
don't think it would be easy for us to lose you unless you wanted to get lost, given the racket we're making.
Oh, I know where you are.
Even I rolled poorly. Wow, that's an 8 from the bard.
This
Yeah,
is
seems
going well. This is
I'm
going
doing
well.
that thing where I'm
Squint is
sticking my
contagious.
fingers in my ear and just singing along.
Singing along. Someone pick one person and roll a percentile dice for me, please.
Obviously, I'm not doing too hot right now, so I would not recommend me.
I could try it, but it may go very, very badly.
I'll do it.
I mean, yeah, somebody
Why
just,
not?
yeah.
I'll just do it. You're good.
Sounds good. Just
I'll
roll.
take this. 71.
If
71.
there's ever a role that no one wants to be blamed for, just give it to me. Squint will be happy to do it.
It's actually not too bad. So, after about a quarter of the day goes by, you guys find yourself circled back around, and you find yourself in a familiar place, standing in front of wooden walls. Man, that gate looks awful familiar.
We made it. Where's the monster?
This isn't the logging town.
I feel like this is the town we just left.
Are
Yeah,
there any,
this is home.
are there any trees around?
Yeah, there's
You have
trees behind
monsters
you.
in your home? You should do something about that.
Not enough logging.
Definitely not enough logging.
Too many trees left.
That's beautiful that you put that one together. Oh god, Darian, make another survival check for me. See what happens.
Okay, I'll roll it on D&D Beyond this time.
Do you need any help?
I got a 13, so +2 is 15.
I
15.
would love to help.
All right, so 15 gets you set on track, going in the right direction. So you got that going for you. As it starts getting closer to night, you guys do eventually make it to the logging town.
Go ever on and on.
You do break out to... You break out into an opening. You see what looks like a setup of a bunch of huts. To the far north part of the town, you do see where it looks like it's being clear cut out, and a bunch of mills.
Oh, Oh, not windmills, just tree mills.
Yes, lumber mills.
Okay.
See, now they how to work right.
You do right as you break through, you do see it's a nice stone structure. Further into the little town, you do see huts. They look almost like some type of barracks or anything like that. Unlike the town you just came from, it doesn't look like there's too many people out roaming around currently.
Are there any monsters visible?
Make a perception check.
10.
You do not see any monsters currently.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
What would
All
you
right,
like to do?
well, let's go find the quartermaster. Maybe he'll invite us to stay someplace.
You
So-
have a tiny hut.
One use of a tiny hut.
Ah.
Okay. The first building that you approach does have a sign out of it that says sleep till morning. It does look like it might be a tinier inn of some sort. As you make your way further into town, you do see another building come up that looks like it says Weapons Oh My.
Love that.
And then you come to a fork in the road. You can go right or left. Which way would you like to go? Or would you like to enter in any of the buildings that you walk past?
Jinx seems to know where she's going. I have decided. So
Okay.
I think I am like walking boldly and carefully along, but like kind of side-eyeing Jinx just a little bit and trying to tell where she's trying to go, and then I will redirect my path to wherever Jinx seems like she wants to go.
Let's go to the lumber mill.
Okay.
Excellent.
So you take the right down the road to come around the circle. You do see some huts. It looks as though there might be lanterns on inside these huts. You do pass another solid building. This one happens to have a couple wooden stands on the outside of it. You look at the sign and it says General Goods. You keep making your way past to where you see another couple huts. Bang that right and start making your way to these wooden buildings out in the far back. To your left, you kind of see where some of the trees have been stacked upon each other. You see that there are a few people here, but looks like they're kind of finishing up for the day. Looks like they're doing cleanup, stuff like that.
Sure, I'll approach one of them.
Okay. You approach this. Looks like a younger human gentleman. He's wearing work clothes, just straight cloth. Looks like he has his arm sleeves rolled up. Looks like he's putting away some saws, some hand saws. And you approach him, and he looks at you, and he goes, "Interesting. You're not from around here."
No,
We've come to slay your monsters.
I am not. I was wondering if you could tell me where the quartermaster might be.
The quartermaster building is as you go down the road. You take the right and right past the woods and goods. The wares and goods. There's a hut right there off to the northeast-ish, right off to the right. That's the quartermaster.
Fantastic, thank you.
We're
Hey.
monsters.
We're going to fight the monsters in the morning when it's easier to see them.
I sort of push my spectacles just a little bit up my nose.
How dark
Besides-
is it out right now?
It's getting to be late evening, probably around 6ish, so the sun's kind of starting to set.
I'll slide my goggles up onto my forehead.
But Squint can see just fine.
I know, but I cannot. And the contract that we signed is very clear in that we have to find the quartermaster first.
Stupid contract.
I know, but this is the price we pay to fight monsters. To get paid to fight monsters, if you would.
Fine, let's hunt the quartermaster.
I sort of pick up my axe and very carefully set it against my shoulder, like very carefully so as not to cut Squint with it against my shoulder in a more visible fashion than because I've been carrying it like down by my side, sort of parallel to the ground, because that's easier. But now I have it up in sort of a much showier position. Fight quartermaster.
No, we're going to talk to the quartermaster. I just give us a little salute to the gentleman who may have just accidentally sent a bunch of assassins to the quartermaster and head back to back the way we came.
All right.
He's probably so confused.
I also look confused.
Make an insight check.
Sure. I'm, for once, kind of awful at those.
You're not a cleric.
Let me just check a thing. I can add half my proficiency bonus rounded down, which is 2, so that's 1. So that's a 13.
13? He doesn't look like he's paying attention, to be honest with
okay.
you. He looks like he's exhausted. He's just got done doing a full day's worth of work cutting down trees.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like he just wants to pack up his shit and go the fuck home.
Fair enough.
He's had one of those days.
One of those days where you don't care if you sent a bunch of assassins to the postman.
Yeah, whatever. He's on his own at this point.
Okay.
You guys make your way back down the road between the two huts. You take your right. You follow the road down there. You see another stonish building where it does say on the sign, wares and goods. This one's planted in the ground right next to the building. And a little off to the right there, you can see that hut that looks like is the one he explained to you.
Fantastic. We'll head there.
Okay. You make your way in there. I don't know if you guys ever have smelt what it smells like to be in a lumber mill office.
Fantastic. Amazing.
Yes, it's actually a very natural smelling.
Like cedar and dust.
Mm-hmm. And on the ground, you guys do notice what looks to be like tracked in cedar dust and stuff like that. Tracked in shavings, stuff like that from boots and stuff. You do see a scruffy gentleman behind a desk off to your left. He has a very thick black beard, thick long black hair. Looks like he's wearing cloth himself. Looks like he just got done heavy day's work. He looks like he is writing something in a book currently.
I like the smell of this place.
Hello, and I'll head forward.
You see him look up. He kind of stands out of his chair. He's like, "Yes, how may I help you?"
The Hunters Guild sent us. We were supposed to check in with you.
Oh, the Hunters Guild. Perfect. You're here looking for the disturbance. He kind of stops, looks at the Minotaur, looks at the kobold, and he's like, "Yes, monsters." And he looks back.
Monster, not quarter monster.
Honestly, I do not know. He sits back down in his chair and goes, "All I can tell you is that sometimes in the night, some of my workers have disappeared." And he kind of does the quote.
Lazy workers.
We have tracked him off to the north. We do know the bodies get dragged off that way, but as far as where exactly, we're not quite sure.
Taking extensive notes. See, so. And people who normally wouldn't disappear, I would assume.
He kind of chuckles. Depends on what kind of disappear you're talking about. We do have a few drunks in the town. Great workers, but they tend to tip back a little too much at night and may wander off. But yes, they typically return. Except for as of lately, I want to say about a week ago, people seem to have disappeared and not returned.
So the problems have been happening for about a week. And these drunks, would they be the type to wander off into away from civilization, or are we thinking that they're being taken from the bar?
I would say they were roaming around, found a tree to piss on, and something grabbed them from there.
All right.
They're stupid, but they're not that stupid, if you know what I mean.
Not nice.
Certainly not. Certainly something worthy of maybe Squint the Great. Yes.
I'm glowering at the quartermaster.
He shrugs.
How many?
We've had 4 go missing thus far.
Too many.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely a monster.
And the bodies are taken north, you said?
Seems so, yes.
All right. Seems as good a place as any to start our investigation.
Go now. I turn and walk towards the door.
What?
He's the quartermaster kind of shrugs. He's like, okay. Goes back to doing his work.
Did everybody follow? It's going to take me a minute to get back out the door without close lighting Squint, so people have to nip a second if anybody else is. I feel like at some point early on, I did close line Squint because this seems like a careful built of experience.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, make a dex check. You called it.
Just straight up dex.
Yep.
16.
Seems to be fine. You're getting this whole height difference thing. And you're almost perfect on the measurements every time.
Thank you.
Taking good care.
Best care.
Biggest monster.
Kill them all.
You hear the quartermaster. You hear the quartermaster. The quarter monster. Kill him! Kill him! You hear the quartermaster. Yeah, get him!
Get him!
And I sort of pick up a very gentle little trot. I guess off into the woods to the northwest-ish, like just continuing up this way, unless
I
someone...
raise my flail and I just start spinning the ball on the chain above my head.
This
Off
is
we
too
go.
much.
I should have
Here
just
we
waited
go.
another day. I should have just delayed my thesis for one day. One day really would have been all it took. She's just muttering to herself as she follows these characters.
What's Thomas think of this?
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
I think Thomas is sleeping. Darian. This wouldn't be the first one to fall asleep on me.
Oh no.
Jim tends to do this to me all the time. Samuel's done this to me once or twice.
He is muted.
Is he?
Yeah.
Darian, you're muted. He died. He died.
No, I'm here.
Oh
I'm sorry.
no, we didn't
What-
mean to kill all.
what happened?
Didn't actually mean to kill them all yet.
That moment when you walk away to go to the bathroom and come back to hear people calling your name, you just scramble
Yeah.
for the mic.
Oh, my bad. What's up?
What does Thomas think of this group currently?
I think Thomas is he's learned from his name in particular that paying attention to detail is probably one of the most important parts of life. So he's just kind of sitting back and watching how these people interact with everybody. He's very intrigued at how they've interacted with the quartermaster.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Paying attention to detail is one of the most important things in life, and these people do not pay that much attention to detail.
Nope.
Exactly.
One does.
I
One does.
mean, lots of attention to detail, just not necessarily the right details.
That is more accurate.
They are focused on the objective, I can say that.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like when you're writing a performance review and you're desperately trying to find just the one thing that you could write that's good. You're like,
Extremely goal-oriented.
Squint has said monster more than I can count already.
Approximately 12 times.
Monster!
13.
Yes.
So what are you guys doing? Are you finding one of the inns, or are you going to
no,
continue?
I believe that Squint and Ferdinand just took off into the woods.
I
Screaming
mean,
monsters, so-
Ferdinand
we
is
headed
heading off
north?
this way, but it looks like we are gonna have to go by this other place. So, like, if somebody wants to attempt to
Well-
dissuade Ferdinand from trotting off into the woods,
Quick question: does Ferdinand have dark vision?
sure doesn't.
Can I yell from the back of the pack? Squint! The sign says monsters and sleep through the night.
About face!
Ferdinand will very sort of gently cease trot, like come from a trot, like through a couple of very like stopped over the course of 10 paces, 10 gradually slower, shorter paces, stops, turns around precisely 180 degrees, and begins trotting back the other direction.
And now I'm just gonna leave it up to Yesin and Jinx to persuade them to actually go into the building now that I have their attention.
Where is monster side?
Under the beds, obviously.
You know what? I'm gonna let them make these beginner mistakes that I've probably already made once or twice before.
Oh dear.
Is it
You're
clear that
not
this?
trying to fool Squint, are you? Squint is too cunning for that.
You are Squint. The problem is that I am but a weak human and very tired. If we could simply stop for the night, I throw myself at your mercy. If we could simply stop for the night, we can continue our
Nah.
hunt bright and fresh in the morning.
Squint, I need you to check my closet for monsters before I go to bed.
I ponder this with great dignity.
Only fair for Squint to take care of Groupie. Let's go.
Jesus.
Can I, as we follow him into the building, can I blow on him on the way in since I don't have a fan?
I mean, definitely Ferdinand. Again, I'm assuming, unless I hear otherwise, that none of these doors are 12 feet tall. So Ferdinand is definitely back down on his knees to enter the door. So Squint is certainly within blowing range.
I will let you know when there is a door that is going to be big enough for your character to fit through without any issues.
Excellent.
So Jinx was going to give Thomas a fist bump for that maneuvering, but then he started being a little bit literal with fanboy, so no. She was gonna follow Yasin.
Is Yasin with us, or is she disappeared? Again, as far as we can tell.
Yasin may have, smelled ale and wandered on.
Yasin's already in one of the ends. Who even knows which one, or is she back over at the ale house?
She
If there is a bar in this inn, I am there. You just didn't even see me go through the door. I was just there.
Oh, looks like a bar to me. Let's go.
It'll be fine.
you guys walk in. You do see a few patrons. One at the bar, a couple in at their own tables. You do see a waitress going around. You see a in the back behind the bar. You see a very large, red-haired human, dressed in normal commoner clothes. Looks like he's kind of wiping down the countertops. You do see a older, probably mid-40s woman, with salt pepper hair. You see her on the other side of the bar doing same thing. She's wiping down the bar, has a towel around her, on her shoulder.
That is the tallest dwarf Squint has ever seen.
I
I'm going
approach
to
the tall
address the
dwarf.
woman.
You approach the woman,
Yes, but I will definitely defer to whatever Yasin's about to do.
and she looks at you as you approach. What can I get for you?
Just a tall ale would be wonderful.
She nods, coming right up. And you watch as she gets a stein. She goes over to the keg, pours an ale, sets it on the counter. Anything else I can get for you?
What's
Right.
the meal for the evening?
Oh, what's for the meal? He looks over and he kind of, meat? Yeah, but what kind of meat? Meat.
I like meat.
Do you have anything else? He kind of looks over at her, stares at her for a minute. Meat? Apparently it's meat.
Meat!
Well, I'll have meat and if there's any available bread and cheese would be wonderful, but if not, that's fine.
It's...
That-
What were you gonna say?
Oh, Ferdinand is just looking sort of increasingly dismayed.
She looks back over. Do we have any bread and cheese? She goes, useless. She goes over. You see her open up some barrels and cabinets. Bread. And she goes over to what looks like it might be like a cooler of some sort, some kind of chest. And you watch as she pulls out. Ooh. She puts it back, shuts the cooler.
Oh no!
And she walks back over. We got bread.
Thank you.
It's not fresh baked, but it's bread. You hear the man scruff bread. And continue to wipe down his counter.
Where are the
You're telling him
closets
we're
with
not
the
asking him to
monsters?
eat it, you're asking him to sell it.
Did you just ask where are the closets with the monsters?
Good.
You see the lady look up at you, squint. She shrugs her shoulders. No monsters here, dearie.
Liar!
I turn and walk out.
Damn it. Squint, Ferdinand, if you stay, I will play the flute and sing the song, the Ballad of Squint.
No meat.
Wait a second.
Ferdinand like slows down as basically like walking in place.
I lean forward to whisper loudly to Ferdinand.
Now hear Squint out. If we stay, the Ballad of Squint and Ferdinand.
No meat. No monsters.
The Ballad of Squint and Ferdinand.
Are
Squint,
you
Squint
able?
and Jinx would know that Ferdinand, being essentially a large cow, is a vegetarian. Ballad travels. Monsters and Ballad. And I sort of like take 2 tiny little steps towards the door.
I'll
Are
sit
you-
back up and look to the bar.
Are you able to persuade?
salads?
She looks over. I'm sure I can find something.
Our friend is a vegetarian.
Not Squint, Ferdinand. Squint like meat.
The slightly less tall one.
You watch as the waitress comes back. These two talk amongst each other, and she heads out the door. It'll be a little bit, but we'll go find something at the farmer's market for you, or the general store.
Thank you.
Ballad now.
Ballad now.
Monster next.
Monster later. Yes. I will pull out my lyre and strum a few, and just build some tension. Try and get it perfectly in tune.
Ballad.
Make a performance check.
Yeah.
Freebird!
Do you want Freebird or do you want the ballad?
Ballad! Then Freebird!
No, that's charisma. Thank you. Hold on. Performance?
Yep.
14. Oof.
It's a little rough.
That's amazing.
And then I will begin playing the ballad of how Ferdinand and Squint met.
One
Little dark. She's not done writing it yet.
giant
Yeah.
minotaur facing down a tiny kobold who is facing down a giant minotaur. That's all
Both
I know about
convinced
how
the
they
other
met.
one is a monster.
Correct.
Yep. And then how they became the best of friends.
I went off chasing windmills.
And their admirable hunt for windmills.
Oh, Jinx would know that for some reason Squint is convinced that the term for giant is actually windmill.
Oh, yes, but she hasn't actually put that in the song yet. She hasn't gotten it to so it's mostly about and then there's going to be a whole verse about how windmills are awful, they're giant, they squish things, they stomp villages, stealing people and all of the fair maidens. Still a work in
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
You
Very
can
confusing
add-
for no one who has context for what windmills are.
Add follower, and I point at Thomas.
I will work on that verse tonight.
Only if worthy.
Hey, excuse me. I think I've done a pretty good job as a fan. All right.
A good fanboy.
No monster yet.
Still have to check the closets.
And under bed.
Always under the bed.
We'll need some
Sneaky
rooms for
monsters.
tonight, I think. I'll look to the barkeep after the ballad is over.
How many would you like?
All of them.
Think 4.
Which have monsters.
Which have closets is a better question.
She scratches her head. None of them have closets. Actually, no, they all have closets.
So 4
That's a
rooms.
lot of monsters.
4 rooms?
Yes.
She nods at you. She says, that will be 8 silver pieces, please.
I'll hand over a full gold.
She takes it. As you all settle in, eat your foods, drink your ales, and gets ready for bed and to investigate the closets and the beds.
Yes.
I'll
I'm
do
a-
a concert before we go to bed for the night.
Okay.
I have several instruments to bring with me and play. So
Make a performance check. Squint,
Yay.
make an investigation check.
I'll help with the investigation check.
Okay, this is gonna be awesome.
why am I rolling such shit?
That's not bad.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask the female bartender for that piece of cheese and hide it in the corner of one of the closets?
When in doubt, bring your own monsters.
Yeah, because it seems like it smelled pretty bad.
Well,
Am I able to do like some kind of persuasion check on another player?
you could do a deception check, yeah.
And what do I roll for that?
Deception.
Well, what?
The skill is called deception.
I've got a -1 in deception. What number dice do I roll?
1d20.
I got a 4.
Hey!
So I got a 3 in general.
So Squint, you find the piece of cheese. Due to your keen smell, make a insight check.
Wow. Okay.
You know that your fanboy hid that piece of cheese for you.
God damn it.
Trying to impress me.
Yes, that's what it
Smart
is.
man.
So with that, as Squint holds up the piece of rotten cheese with all the mold on it, sniffs it, it's trying to impress me. That's where we're gonna end it tonight. Thank you all for checking out Newbooger Presents The Adventures of Seermor Prelude Part 1. Thank you to my players. I really appreciate you guys coming in and playing with me and being a part of this video. I hope you all give me a like, a subscribe, comment in the videos, let me know what you think, and I hope to see you all in the next video.